Welcome to another edition of Digital Dialogues by Maritime Gateway. Today we have a guest with us, Mr. Ashutosh Jaiswal, President, International Business, Shipping and Logistics Division of Century Plyboards India Limited. Mr. Ashutosh Jaiswal is intensely involved in business planning, business strategy, operation management, supply chain management, strategic planning for international trade, shipping and logistics of Century Group. He has more than 35 years of experience in shipping and logistics planning, conceptualized, planned, developed, implemented, marketed the first private sector container freight station at Kolkata. He has implemented the total software technology basis, the Digital India, for both the CFS, including ad mapping, RFID, GPS from the time of nomination of containers to delivery, giving a clear picture on real time to the trade, first of its kind in the country, having total integration. He also is involved in policy decisions on developing exports, identifying new countries, regions, and products. He is the president of National Association of Container Freight Stations, Eastern Chapter, vice president of Eastern India Shippers Association, vice chairman of Shipping and Logistics Committee, Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industries. He is also member of Logistics Committee on Confederation of Indian Industries. Welcome to the show, Mr. Jaiswal. It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Ram Prasad ji, and Namaskar, because I am very proud now that the country has adopted this Namaskar and moved from the shake hand. That is a very good sign. We are adopting and going back to our culture. Thank you very much, and thank you for the introduction.
So you are on a lot of these logistics committees of the trade associations, and you are also huge experience behind you in shipping and logistics. So let me begin by asking you, how is the container freight station business in India? Because recently we have discussed the sustainability model for the container freight stations, because right now I understand CFSs are facing a lot of challenges apart from the trade being impacted by scenarios like COVID. There are a lot of regulatory changes are coming up, competition is stiff. So in this background, how is the business, CFS business?
Let me give you a small background. CFS business original model was different. I mean, it was just a sort of a cash and carry business sort of a thing, And now the challenges are actually coming in. So it will be the survival of the fittest. I will use this word. The fact is the CFS business has been very good. We had growth continuously. We were market leaders continuously. Today also, despite the government's regulation of DP, DPD and all, still we have maintaining the largest volume. So now my only submission is, you see the CFS in the East basically are dependent only on import volume, because the policy is not designed in such a way as it is in the national forum and in the country wise, that the policy is meant both for import and export. So the CFS here are mainly dependent on import. Only 10 to 12% of the exports are routed through CFS. So importers in general, I am myself a large importer as a large exporter also. Importers are only in the East especially, and I will not say East because across the country are only concerned of one thing, that is the cost. So whosoever gives the lowest cost, the box moves to him. A simple funda. So now, as a CFS operator, when we have a land bank of 1,25,000 square meters, largest piece of parcel which we own. So now the point is, how do we actually utilize this 1,25,000 square meters? This can be utilized by two ways. By encouraging exports, making people understand why you should use CFS, how cost effective we can make it, what is the value addition we can give to the customers. Even we have approached customers and told them that we will take care of your goods once it is ready to be out from your factory. We will take care of its packing, we will take care of its labeling, we will take care of its movement, we will stuff it, we will ensure lashing, choking and see that it is on board and on time onto the vessel, and we give you the, even to the extent if required, we hand over the BL to them. You see, this type of value addition services, when we have started, we found that there has been a lot of response from the export community. Imports, because you see, government today, I think, is mainly focusing on DPD. Although in my last seminar, I had raised this issue, we don't have a uniform policy for imports. In across the country, it is 48 hours, but in some ports it is 96, some ports it is 7 days. That uniformity has to be there. Otherwise, CFS business is not a bad business. And if you add value to it, if you give end-to-end solution to a customer, bring more value and confidence to the customer, you will sustain.
So you mentioned one important point that customers want only reduction in cost, reducing the logistics cost. Okay, one way is encouraging them to make the full utilization of the container freight station by getting into exports. See, logistics cost reduction is not only from the customer side, but Government of India is also through its logistics department has been focusing on reducing the logistics cost. So what are the other suggestions or key policy related issues that can be tweaked to bring down the logistics cost?
See, logistics cost in the country is contributing to almost 40% is transportation. So transportation in this country, according to me, and you are more exposed to it, you will know that it is the most unorganized sector in this country, where we do not have a policy. We do not have a policy of any framework on road transportation, as far as I am aware of it, right? We do not have a load restriction. You see, now when we are exporting goods from here to Japan and US, I am very aware that my container should not have more than 18 tons. But when the same shipment is coming from US to India, it is coming 26 tons. So why is our country accepting that? Once we have a control on the weight load and ensure that beyond 18 tons will be heavily taxed, then automatically this will control. On the other hand, what will happen? Today 26 ton is coming and there is no restriction. Tomorrow if 18 ton is coming, there will be a 30% surge, 40% surge in the traffic. Why the government is not understanding this simple view and imposing this weight restriction into the country? See, the point is, wherever the government has become strict, laws and systems have been in place. Wherever they have given freedom, it has been misused.
You mentioned about value added services. So what exactly you have in mind when you say value added services? And CFSs also can get into look at other areas of cargo handling?
Yes, a very good question, Ramprasad. In fact, value added service means, as we have been always telling, that port should always use the port area only for receiving and supplying containers onto the vessel, right? Similarly, manufacturers should concentrate only on the manufacturing of the goods, and they should leave all other activities to reliable, dependable, and committed logistics suppliers like marking, packing, palletization, shrink wrapping, labeling, barcoding. All these things can be left onto the logistics. So if they spend more of their time into manufacturing, their manufacturing will go up. What they do is, because they think that no, by doing this, they will be reducing cost, but actually they are wasting time, which is a cost which is not accounted for. So my all submission, whenever I meet an exporter, I tell them that the only best thing for you is to concentrate on your product and your manufacturing and leave rest on all. You tell us what is that you want from us. So by doing this, you believe me, we have actually converted many exporters from putting their head into all these small things and coming into us. We reduced their cost, we gave value to them, and the best part is that they have not received any complaint from their end customer. So this is how the word of mouth will spread. Second is, Today, because CFSs are underutilized, I think there is a huge scope where the CFS can be utilized by denotifying certain area and handling domestic cargo. With the Atmanirbhar Bharat coming into picture, I think there is a huge scope by warehousing manufacturing, by handling domestic cargo, they can keep themselves floating, sustainable, and bring more value addition and profitability to the business.
Let us talk about your region, especially in the eastern region, where you have your business and also you are representing the trade association in that region. So how are things at Calcutta Port and in general the trade scenario in eastern region?
Eastern region, especially east, and I will use the word northeast also, is the focus of the country today, I understand, because the growth has been very slow and the scope was initially not very visible. But with the government's policy coming into picture, with lot of changes happening, I see that there is a huge scope of growth in the east as well as the northeast, where the focus was originally not there. You see, lot of shops have been given for northeast manufacturing. In the east, because we have the port, we have the airport, we have the entire gateway to the east, and the Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Myanmar, all these countries are actually have a lot of potential to bring in cargo into Kolkata. Now, you see, you will find recently, you must be aware of it, a lot of Indian manufacturers have shifted their base to Bangladesh for manufacturing. And people had one unit, and from one unit they have made it into multiple units. Why? Because there is a scope of manufacturing there. From there, they're getting the cargo back into Calcutta and then distributing onwards. Keeping all these things in mind, there is a huge scope of warehousing. There is a huge scope of committed transportation. I am using this word committed transportation. That is very important. And third thing is the cost of inefficiency which people used to pay in the East is reducing drastically. You see, the cost of inefficiency in the logistics, according to me, according to my data, is more than 15 to 20% of the logistic cost, which people never used to account for. They used to take it for granted. Oh, to aise hi chalta hai. But now people have realized that this cost can be reduced with technology in place, with efficient people in place, with training in place, with assurance in place, with proper infrastructure in place. If this cost is brought down, it can be brought down to less than 3% also. Today it is around 20%. So that itself will be a huge factor of motivation to investors.
Government of West Bengal has announced expression of interest for a port, Tejpur port, I believe. What are your comments on that? Does it have any good business prospects?
Let me tell you, Tajpur has a potential because there is a deep draft of 18 meters. But unfortunately, the back-end area is not available. You see, unless and until some port which has an 18-meter draft possibility and you do not have space, how can you grow? And today, acquiring space is a big problem. I don't need to elaborate on it. That is a huge, huge problem. If that is taken through positively through government policies, then maybe there is a possibility of Tajpur port coming into very prominent situation. But apart from Tajpur, I will tell you, Kirtania is also a potential area, potential port, good draft. So that also has a possibility. But if Kirtania comes up and Tajpur doesn't come, then Kolkata port will have a tough time. I think so.
As a Century Group, what are your plans in this shipping and logistics business beyond Calcutta region? Are you looking at expanding your CFS operations or getting into any other related businesses?
Yeah. In fact, we have put up an expression of interest for Kolkata Port KPD West, where 600 bidders are also shown interest. That is a sort of a backward integration to our logistics. In fact, we had a very large plan of spending about 700 crores and expansion to be done into the CFS and ICD business across the country. But because of the DPD policy and DPD policy, we do not see immediate positive response, because it is now a competition between a port and the CFS. Earlier, the port was we were acting as a facilitator to the port. Now the port and CFSs have become competitors. So that in that situation, it is really difficult to expand into CFS business. But surely I will say that we are working very closely with various agencies to enter into logistics in a big way, apart from the CFS what we are having. And that will take into account maybe specialized vehicles, warehousing. Not only warehousing, normally you see across the country, if you see 85 to 90% of the warehousings are actually godowns. By warehousing, we means automated warehousing we are thinking about, which actually people are looking for. But people are not willing to spend that much of money, because they think that possibly the rent will be like that and all those things. But our technology will be different, and our modus operandi will be different, and our thought process of implementation will be totally different. So that is an area where we are thinking upon. Then we have plans to connect East and Northeast, and because we see a lot of future in that. So we are planning to put up a lot of money into the Northeast. We have a lot of investment in Northeast and East, and simultaneously give a hub and spoke arrangement to the trade, whereby the trade should not be bothered about truck nahi mil raha hai, gaadi nahi mil raha hai, mera car toot jata hai, mera saman nast ho jata hai. Nothing like that. We will take total responsibility. That is ultimately that, and people have trust and faith on our brand.
COVID-19 pandemic has affected every business. So how did it impact your business? And what are the lessons that you have learned from this pandemic?
Let me be very frank. COVID-19 has not impacted any business, according to me, at least not to us. What has impacted is the government's policy, which was more than COVID-19. In fact, COVID-19 as a group, we have surpassed all limits of 34 years during this COVID-19 period. So we have done exceedingly well, and not only in CFS business, but in other parent businesses also, we have done exceedingly well. So what we learned from COVID-19, it is just like a crisis, You should know how to extract the best from the crisis, learn the best from the crisis, how to overcome crisis, how to encourage people, motivate people, provoke people during crisis, so that they can efficiently enhance their capacities and double their capacity, in fact, which we did. And let me tell you, during the COVID, our working strength may be less, but potentiality of that strength was almost 2.5 times. Because they were freely working from home, they were open to all ideas, they were having everything, all accesses possible were given to them. So COVID-19 has not actually given us any retardation. In fact, COVID-19 to us has actually given acceleration. I will use this word.
That's very positive and very encouraging. On that note, Mr. Jaiswal, thank you very much for joining us today and sharing your insights into not only CFS business, that your group's expansion, and also the Eastern region and Northeast region prospects that are coming in future. We wish you all the best, and once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ram Prasad ji. You are known to be one of the most important persons in logistics, and your insights and thought process is little different from others. So thank you again for inviting me for this interview, and I look forward maybe in the next session again. Thank you. Namaskar.
Namaskar.